What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the JuiceBox presented by LOCKCITY. It's Whitey here today. Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone's having a good week. Today we have episode 222, I believe it is, of the JuiceBox. We're going to be shifting gears a little bit, still on the CS2 side of things, but instead of Fisher Playground 2, we'll get to that video later today because matches are still ongoing before deciding the playoffs. We're instead going to be looking forward to StarLadder StarSeries, a tournament taking place, kicking off tomorrow in Budapest, Hungary. It's going to be an A-Tier CS2 Tournament. We got 8 teams kicking off here, and without further ado, I guess let's just get into it in terms of tournament structure. So for StarLadder StarSeries, again, Budapest, Hungary, $500,000 prize pool. It's going to be a quick one. Kicks off tomorrow, wraps up on Sunday. 8 teams basically hopping directly into what you could consider a playoff-style bracket. It's going to be a double elimination bracket. So the 8 teams that we have facing off here are going to be Navi, Bait, Ninjas in Pyjamas, Passion UA, 9, PARIVISION, OG, and Gentle Mates. So for those of you that don't know, I guess in terms of noteworthy changes here, Passion UA essentially acquired the Complexity roster. So they have JT Grimm, Halzerk, and Nick X. And then on the Gentle Mates side of things, Gentle Mates acquired the Iberian Soul roster, which prior to that was Movistar Riders, so on and so forth. But same roster, same 5 guys out of Spain here for Gentle Mates. So some really strong teams coming into this tournament. What it looks like in terms of a bracket here. So again, essentially directly into what you could consider the playoffs because there's only 8 teams in this tournament. It's going to be double elimination style. So the one caveat, I suppose, here, firstly, obviously, as soon as you lose a match, you're going to be kicked down to the lower bracket. Once you lose your second match, you're directly out of the tournament. The teams that continue to win will remain in the upper bracket here. Once you get to the upper bracket final, so both of these teams will then be 2-0. They will have won their upper bracket quarterfinal and their upper bracket semifinal matches. So we'll have 2-0 teams facing off here in the upper bracket final. The loser of that upper bracket final will then play the winner of this lower bracket semifinal, moving on to the lower bracket final. So the loser of this will then be 2-1. You need 2 losses to be out of the tournament, so they just move down to the lower bracket final and play the other team that is then 2-1 because they would have lost their first game and then won 2 games, or 3 games, I suppose, so then they're 3-1. So they end up playing off here in the lower bracket final. That then decides our grand final, which I believe is just a BO3. Just BO3. No BO5 for the grand final here. It's just going to be a BO3 grand final. So some exciting stuff here. Without further ado, we'll kind of just hop into it. In terms of match times and start times, all of the matches are going to be separate, so only one at a time going on. And in terms of my time zone, in Eastern time, the first one is going to be 5 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, and then 8 a.m., 11 a.m., and 2 p.m., so separated in 3-hour intervals, obviously subject to change as well. If Bait and PARIVISION were to go 2 quick maps, PARIVISION wins 2-0, then obviously this one's going to start a little bit earlier than 8 o'clock. If it were to go 3 maps and all 3 maps out overtime, obviously that's going to be a lot longer than 3 hours, so then this one would start closer to 8:30, 9 o'clock. So good to get some bets in tonight. Obviously we will also have some live bets in the Discord there. Discord's going to be at the bottom of the screen, discord.gg/LockCity, 100% free. We have over 4,500 members in there. We've been doing this for over 3 years. We have a really good community in there. On the CS2 side of things, we talk in the CS2 chat all day long about ongoing plays that we have for the following day, always brainstorming in there, talking back and forth. It's a really good community aspect, so if you are a Discord user, I highly suggest joining. We're not going to charge you for plays like any of these other guys out here on Twitter, YouTube, wherever you might be finding this video. 100% free. Come join up. Come talk about the plays. Let's make some money together. So without further ado, let's hop over to Thunderpick now. For those of you that don't know, Thunderpick, of course, one of the leaders in esports across the world here. We are lucky enough to be partnered with them. You see the link on your screen, tinyurl.com/LCThunder. It's going to get you a 100% deposit match on your first deposit all the way up to $600. So any amount that you deposit with Thunderpick for your first deposit all the way up to $600 or whatever your equivalent is in your local currency will get immediately matched by Thunderpick for you to be able to use on your esports picks. They also have regular sports. They have a casino on there. It's a really great website. Their CS2 tracking is probably the fastest I've come across. Faster than Bet365, which is the next closest that I could think of. Definitely faster than Stake. For majors upcoming, they're going to have player-by-player POVs where you'll be able to watch, similarly to how you can on Face It, by any single player's POV for your bets, whatever you have placed there. So if you are into kill props, if you do headshot props, anything like that, I don't personally, but if you're one of those people that do, really good to be able to watch it from POVs, but couldn't speak higher of Thunderpick. Really good fans of theirs, tinyurl.com/LCThunder. Let's get into what we have on the board here. Alrighty, so first play here, both of these are going to be 2-unit plays here on Thunderpick for tomorrow. The first one, I'm going to bundle the 2 early games. That's going to be PARIVISION and Bait, and then Nip and OG. And then for the second one, we're going to bundle the 2 later games. That's going to be Passion UA and Gentlemates, and then Navi and 9. So first up, let's talk about Bait and PARIVISION. I'm going to be taking PARIVISION here on the money line. I think PARIVISION obviously should win this. I think they could win it 2-0. Probably more likely they win this 2-1. Bait's a really good team. Both of these teams obviously good teams. PARIVISION 33rd ranked in the world. Obviously James, the highlight of this roster. They have players that were previously on Aurora before Aurora then bought Eternal Fire's roster. But some good players, well known within the tier 2, tier 3 sort of scene. Likewise for Bait, obviously MPL, Ken Sizer, Head Trick. They got some really noteworthy names on here as well. Some former Ninjas and Pyjamas players. They're 25th ranked in the world. Also, again, very noteworthy across the tier 2, tier 3 sort of scene. And 2 really good teams. Map Pool does lean PARIVISION. On the PARIVISION side of things here, they're in much better form. They've won 5 of their last 6, 8 of their last 10. We haven't seen Bait in the last 3 weeks or so. They've been boot camping, but they've lost to Lin Vision. Obviously, the loss to Tai Lu now has aged a little bit better. The loss to Mouse is justifiable. I don't think the loss to FlyQuest is very good. The 2-0 to Aurora is not, or to Astralis, sorry, is not great. On the PARIVISION side of things, they're beating teams that they should beat, as well as beating teams that they probably shouldn't beat, especially not 2-0. They're beating OG 2-0. They beat Ecstatic, they beat Z10, they beat 9. So they're beating a lot of good and competitive teams. I'm going to be going PARIVISION here all day. I think PARIVISION probably takes Inferno for their pick. I think they win Inferno. I could also see them taking Mirage. I think they win Mirage as well. I think Dust 2 would probably be close. I do think Bait has a good Dust 2. I know they don't play it a whole lot, but I do like what we've seen out of them on Dust 2. I think that could be competitive. But give me PARIVISION here on the money line as a no-brainer for my first leg of that parlay. I'm going to be going PARIVISION on the money line. The next one up here on this same parlay is going to be over 20.5 rounds for Ninjas in Pyjamas and OG. So that's going to be our next match here at 8 o'clock or whatever it is in your respective time zone. On the Nip and OG side of things, OG gets the first map pick here, or should get the first map pick here. They have Nikadaz, they have Arizdache, Adam B, so on and so forth. Arizdache, obviously noteworthy, recently was playing for Ninjas in Pyjamas, so a little bit of a revenge game here. I think there's going to be some high tensions on both sides of things. On Nip, obviously the roster that we're similar to seeing. We have U-Jerks, we have Wrinkle, we have Kaspersky, Shush, Snappy, so on and so forth. In terms of map pool, I do expect OG to probably take Ancient, I would imagine. I could see them maybe picking into Mirage as well. But they do have a better win rate on Ancient. They look much more, way more cohesive on Ancient. I expect them to take Ancient here. I think Ancient's going to be close. I don't think Nip is going to fumble easy. Over 20.5 total rounds. All we need is 8 on either side, 13-8 or closer. I think that's going to be a gimme for this one. So second leg is going to be over 20.5 total rounds. Map 1 of Nip and OG. 2 units on this is going to pay 2.5 times our money. So it's going to pay us back 5 units. The next one up is going to be Passion UA and Gentlemates. Same sort of idea. Map 1 over 20.5. And then we're going to take 9 plus 6.5 round handicap for their map pick on map 1. First, we'll talk about Passion UA and Gentlemates. So on the Passion UA side of things, obviously they acquired the majority of the Complexity roster. They have Grim, they have JT, they have Halzerk, and they have Nick X. And on the Gentlemates side of things, they acquired the entire Iberian Soul roster. And they've made their way into counterstrike, the Gentlemates brand. So we have Alex, we have Martinez, we have Mopaz, we have Davide, and we have Sosal. So getting into this, Passion UA obviously in horrible form. They haven't been winning really anything. They lost to 9. Some of these losses obviously justifiable, like Gamer Legion, you wouldn't expect them to beat. Heroic at that time, you wouldn't expect them to beat. Tai Lu, you wouldn't expect them to beat. And each of those two were relatively competitive. But the loss to Monte is not good. The loss to 9 is not good. The loss to Saw is not good. And then going back 9 weeks ago, not really relevant. Obviously here, now they have this complexity roster as well. So when we're looking at head-to-heads, it was at this time Movistar Riders and complexity. So again, not relevant. This is going all the way back to 2023. Completely different scenarios and situations. Don't look at this if you're looking to bet this match. This has nothing to do with what we're looking at here today. It's just because of the cores of the roster. Gentlemates wins this. I do have Gentlemate on the CS2 Best Bets cheat sheet as well for StarLadder StarSeries. I took them on the money line at 1.68x. I think there's really good value in that. But what I ended up taking as a safer play for the parlay at least is going to be map 1 over 20.5 total rounds. Gentlemates should get the first pick. I expect them to probably take Ancient because Complexity has a horrible Ancient. And now, on the Passion UA side of things, I don't expect that to be any different. I do expect Gentlemates to take care of business, but I do expect it to be close as well. I don't think we're going to see like a 13-6, 13-5. I think it'll be more in the realm of 13-8, 13-9, 13-10. I think Complexity is not, or Passion UA, is not just going to roll over and die. I think it's going to be pretty competitive given the fact that this is a double elimination. So give me Gentlemate's map pick. Probably going to be Ancient again. Could be Inferno, but I would take Ancient if I was them. Over 20.5 total rounds. Again, Passion UA is not going to roll over and die there. I think that's a safe first leg. And the next one here is going to be 9 plus 6.5 round spread. So let's get into 9 and Na'Vi. Na'Vi, obviously a good team. They've been tested a lot as of recently. This 9 public consensus is a little bit crazy, up near 30%. But 9's a good team, 31st ranked in the world. We won't go into their roster too much, I guess, for those of you that aren't overly familiar. They'll probably be out of this tournament relatively quickly. I do expect them to lose this match and then probably the subsequent match. But I think it's going to be competitive for their map pick. In terms of what I expect them to pick, I would say Na'Vi is going to ban Overpass here. That's going to take away one that they're relatively comfortable on. I could see them taking Dust 2, definitely, but I could also really see them taking Ancient. 9 obviously plays a ton of Ancient, but Na'Vi doesn't play a lot of Dust 2. I know Dust 2 is obviously a staple map. It's a map that a lot of Na'Vi players are comfortable on, but they don't play a lot of Dust 2. And then on the 9 side of things, they do play a lot of Dust 2. And Ancient, I could see 9 taking Ancient as well. Na'Vi hasn't looked excellent on Ancient recently. Na'Vi's losses include losses to M80, lost to FaZe, lost to 3D Max, lost to Astralis. So they're losing to teams that are on the verge of being tier 2 teams, like low tier 1, high tier 2. And then on the 9 side of things, I mean, they're beating team. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. But they beat Sangal, they beat Johnny Speeds, they beat Eyeballers, they beat Passion UA. They are losing to teams that they should lose to, so by no means do I expect them to beat Na'Vi. But I think on their map pick, they can keep it close. They can win at least 7 rounds. I think they'll come out swinging. I think in the first half, they could probably win 4 or 5, and then depending on how advantageous it is when they flip sides, I think they could win another 4 or 5. Give me 9. I think they can comfortably win probably 9 rounds, but give me 9 to win at least 7 rounds here on the second leg of this play. That's going to be map 1 on their pick plus 6.5 round spread, and 2 units there is going to pay us 4.24 units, so 2.12 times our money. All right, y'all. That was a little bit longer, kind of came in at 13 minutes here, but a little bit of detail that we had to go over given the fact that it is the first day of the tournament here. So let me know in the comments how you feel about the plays that we have on the board here for tomorrow. If you're going to be tailing along, if you hate them, if you like them, let me know in the comments. Open to any and all feedback there, and also your opinions on what you think is going to happen in CS. Just love talking about CS. So give us a like on the video if you like what you've been getting here. Subscribe if you're on YouTube or Spotify, somewhere where you can subscribe if you like the content. But if not, we'll be dropping this regularly. So depending on whatever medium you're listening on, you can check back here for some more content on our LOCKCITY page. But also join up in the Discord there, like we said earlier in the video. 100% free at the bottom of the screen, discord.gg/LOCKCITY. All right, y'all. That is it for me. Have a great day. Let's cash tomorrow. Peace.